Fat kids, skinny kids, kids who climb on rocks, tough kids, sissy kids, even kids with chicken pox. Love Adam Carolla.
Yeah. Blew my voice out yelling for my Rams yesterday. Got to get it on. No choice but get a mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you, right, Gina Grab?
That's right.
Handball, Brian.
This is fantastic.
Well, we're all big winners here in this room.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
That's right.
Our,
home teams.
all the teams won. I mean, in dramatic fashion. Wow.
Great games.
Best.
All of them.
It's why I love football. When football goes right like this, it's why you got to love football. Crazy. 4 of the worst games ever the week before, or 6, or however many they had, and then 4 of the best ever, back to back to back. I mean, it's just embarrassment of riches. Crazy. And everyone in the room's team.
That's right.
Team won.
Fun.
Yeah, highest number from Cincinnati.
Yeah, and no kidding. So there's that. I think we got to change the overtime rules at this point.
Feels like the public sentiment's kind of headed that way.
I think in these crazy shootouts with 2 quarterbacks at the top of their game and playing lights out ball, the idea that it's decided with a coin toss and the other quarterback doesn't get to touch the ball, which I was worried about with my Rams and Tom Brady. Because he has a rich history, like winning a Super Bowl, where they just flip a coin and go down and score and go home.
It's over.
So that shall be revised. Something that I've been noticing for a couple of weeks, but it's been, I forgot about it. Oh, Chris, I don't think my screen is working.
Yeah, I had to reboot it. It'll be
I
open in a
rebooting.
minute.
Anyway, there's some car controversy going on with the NFL.
Okay.
Now, I like to watch those recap shows. I think Chris Rose is the guy's name, does the NFL Rewind or the comp show where they show the, they catch you up, game day highlights and all that kind of stuff. But they always have sponsored segments now. And everything, if you'll notice, is the Coors Light, End Zone, whatever. Everything, they've just, there's a sponsor.
Right.
And what's old is new again. You know,
True. Brought to you by Geritol.
Yeah, I mean,
Aquavelva.
they do the what's his name? Ed McMahon would do the Alpo corner
That's
right.
when he
Sure.
was doing the Tonight Show, like all those weird cigarette brands and stuff. Ford and was all old. Then it went away. Now it's all the integration
Yep.
is back, and it's all back because of TiVo and people fast forwarding. But they have the Mercedes-Benz like drive to victory or whatever.
Okay.
And they built a graphic where they have a car and it's like driving along a map or a football field or something. I filmed it off of my TV set because we're living in a time when everything is online but nothing I want is online.
It's not findable.
So I just go with the NFL thing, and it's like, that doesn't exist. So I now physically film my
Smart.
TV set.
Good producing.
So it's got a little Aaron Rodgers at the top, but I'll show it to you.
Knock off the number 1 seed, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. The time right now for the road to the Super Bowl presented by Mercedes EQ.
Okay, so it's the road to the Super Bowl provided, and it's shot of the map or the road
They
and a little
spared no
plastic
expense
car.
on that CGI.
Yeah. Now, the car they used for the graphic for the Mercedes road to the Super Bowl, Corvette.
What?
1960 Chevrolet fucking vet. Like, I watched this thing. Oh, I had to go to the next room to get a pencil so I could sit back down and snap it again.
Oh, you had to be apoplectic.
I was like,
That's an epic fuck up.
That is crazy.
That doesn't look like any Mercedes I'm familiar
Yeah, I
with.
looked at that and I don't know what that is. But
Mercedes had a couple of convertibles back in the so you know me, I'm an insane person. So I'm like, I swear that's a Corvette. Now, I'm not a Corvette expert. There's a shot of it, Chris, where you can kind of see it from the front, and it does look a little kind of, True Lies. Was a vet.
The vet gets them wet.
Yeah. There was and I just kept
right.
looking
Bill
at
Paxton
it.
said that.
I'm not a Corvette expert. I'm not a vintage Corvette expert, but I just started looking at it, and does the license plate say 62 or 60?
It looks like 62.
Oh,
Super
62.
Bowl.
Then sorry, Chris, it's
I found a 62.
1962.
It's a different color, but I mean,
Right.
it's the
And
same car.
so I started looking at it, and I was like, oh, that's the car. That's the same car.
Can I see another picture? Oh, sorry, of the toy. We're looking at the actual car. Right? So that's the vet. We're looking at the vet.
Yes, we'll show you the toy. The point is, there is a Mercedes
Okay.
of the same vintage, but they didn't use it.
Oh,
And
my
you can get a
God.
die-cast model of it and push it along a road map and film it if you want. They used the They used a Corvette. They used a 1962 Corvette. So if you want to know what I do, I sit around and I'm like, all right, Corvette. All right, 1955. Image, nothing. Okay, 1956. Image, nothing.
Keep going.
I was like, I knew
Google yourself right.
I did. I knew it was an early Corvette. I wasn't sure what year, but I knew it was
Wow.
early. And this is driving me insane. And I bet they're flooded with mail. Flooded.
Oh, yeah.
Probably with mail.
Dear sirs. You know what? They were probably using your logic. They're probably thinking, car guys, sports guys, not always the same dude.
You're doing the road. You can play it again and turn it up a little. It's the road to the Super Bowl. It's a segment that is purchased by Mercedes.
On the official broadcast,
That's-
which I got to imagine is a big cash exchange.
That's great.
As they knock out the number 1 seed, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Time right now for the road to the Super Bowl presented by Mercedes EQ.
All right. Well, they got a Chevy on the road.
I mean, when
to
does
the Super
Mercedes
Bowl.
write the sternly worded letter and say, are you fucking kidding
A
me?
conversation must have been had.
Yeah.
I don't think people know anything anymore.
The Mercedes company doesn't notice?
I think the person that's handling the account is a 29-year-old person who, probably not a historian or a mechanic. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
But you could have picked a Mercedes.
Yeah, but not to have the car, a car. I'm
Any.
guessing by the nomenclature that EQ is an electric car.
I guess.
Why have the oldest gas guzzlingest archetype of a car?
Because that one would look stupid on the paper map. It's a
yeah,
very
that's right.
odd campaign.
Well, now, who else in America has noticed this?
Wait, no one. You're the only person. What if it was sold to Corvette first, and somewhere during the season, their Corvette's like, we're not doing this anymore. Like, hey, Mercedes, a few bucks, and we're gonna put your name
We'll
on.
Sell the
save you
toy
money.
car.
It'll save you money on the
You don't have
graphic.
to shoot anything.
We already laid it down. Well, it's little and it's convertible, and it could have been. There's a Mercedes 190 from that era, Chris. So now I had to make sure that you could buy a die-cast model of a
my
Mercedes 190.
Oh.
But there it is. That would have worked just fine.
Super cute.
Super
Makes
cute.
sense.
Same vintage.
So it has a Mercedes symbol right on the
Has the
front.
Mercedes symbol on there. Yep.
Wow. Who
Nope.
in their right mind would have noticed? Well, I guess no one in their right mind noticed.
I just car guys, the car dudes, and everyone thinks the Hollywood version of the beer swilling football guy, car guy, they're different. All the mechanic dudes, all the car guys, not sports guys.
Yeah.
Wow.
As much as is probably equal part nerd, sci-fi guys.
Right.
You go, well, they don't like sports. It's an
Like
equal.
Comic-Con.
It's equal part
Yeah.
for real heavy-duty car guys.
Wow.
I just remember this. I hadn't thought about this in 8 years, whatever it's been. When I remember Christy, when she effectively ran Jaguar's advertising campaign, I pitched to her. I'm like, take this up the line. This is a good, natural sort of sponsorship thing. Much like this in the recap shows, I said, Jaguar, leap of the week. How much do you like seeing the guy jump over the line to the goal line, to the
Good.
quarterback or whatever? And she's like, yeah, they're not going to go for that. Like, why? It's
No
a
can
Jaguar.
do.
You got the leaper right there on the car. It's the
leapers,
iconic.
the hood.
Yes, it's the Jaguar making
Right.
that iconic leap. And no, I'm not going to go for it.
Wow.
She probably never brought it to him.
She might not have.
I don't think she ever did.
Okay, now that we're complaining about Jaguar, do you remember?
We are, yes.
Do you remember the Okay, there was a Heineken commercial that ran for like 2 years with Jackie Stewart, right? Famous old racer. He's like 60 now or whatever he is. And the whole time, it's archival footage with like Forrest Gump style Heineken put into it. Where he's refusing
right.
Heineken.
Yeah.
No, sorry. And then like cut to modern day. And he's like, no, sorry, I'm still driving. He's Irish or is. And
Scottish. I think.
Scottish? Okay, sorry. Same thing, right?
I could tell by the accent.
And so after that, after he says no to that last Heineken, gets into a Jaguar F-Type, the recently launched flagship Jaguar F-Type they have spent so much money on. I'm like, you guys got to like do something with this. This is awesome. And like, no, we can't. It involves drinking. No, it involves not drinking. This is exactly the perfect message. Iconic racer driving your car.
Is this your way of telling us you guys are getting divorced?
No, Christy understood. She's like, I wish I could do something.
You couldn't show someone smoking even if somebody came in and said, that's going to kill you,
Right.
and throw it
Smoking's
on the ground.
bad.
Like, we can't have him smoking.
He
Yeah,
himself said there's
we're saying it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jackie Stewart.
Yeah, it ran for a while. All right. So they used a Corvette and the Mercedes drive to the Super Bowl.
That's great.
I was upset. I wonder. I know people over there. We should find out if they've ever gotten a letter on it.
Well, we should just check Twitter.
Oh, nobody's tweeted. I have checked Twitter.
Boy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm.
Call Christy really.
I do notice. I
know someone in Mercedes.
I do notice things, but I'm not a Corvette nut. I just happen to be sort of equal football, equal
Right.
car. And I watched it a few times with my spidey sense, the sense of you're leaving the house and you've forgotten something. I was like,
Something's amiss.
something's amiss. And at a certain point, I finally did the footwork. And I'm glad I did.
If you look at the toy, it has no badging.
Has
So
no
this just
badging,
has to be somebody who didn't know. Mm-hmm. Right? Because
Still wonder where the car came from, because somebody was told to get an old Mercedes or vintage Mercedes or convertible Mercedes or a
eBay.
sports car Mercedes.
But why even that? Why not the Mercedes EQ?
Well, now we're getting to another strata here, and I have no idea, but at least have the same manufacturer.
Because these things you just hire out like freelancers or anybody, and they make it in their studio, so they're getting everything on their own. Like I don't
Right. So then when everyone always tells me, relax, just relax, let them do their job. I go, oh God, do I wish. That would be so awesome if I could just go home and rip a bong load and let the guys you farmed out to do the opening for the Mercedes drive to the Super Bowl. Yes, it'd be awesome, except for you end up with this
That's
all
crazy.
the goddamn time.
Do you think the people from Mercedes saw it before it aired?
I 100% guarantee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but who are
They
the
didn't
people
notice.
once again?
Right.
Just knowing the rounds that this shit goes through, especially with automotive, one of the big five, categories, there's no way no one saw it.
Well, in the annals of not knowing your audience, Jake, one of my favorite guys,
From State Farm?
The snake?
he was a writer over Kimmel.
Oh, no,
and
real guy named Jake.
Real guy named Jake.
Well, you're talking about football
There are
commercials.
humans named Jake. No, Jake.
You were talking about football commercials.
It's true. Jake said one day, he said, I'm going to be an emergency room doctor, right in the middle of just writing for Jimmy Kimmel. I've told you about him. And he just went off and did it. Now that he's an emergency room doctor. He showed up at the Super Bowl, I should say, the playoff gathering. He brought some offerings. Tell me if he could have
Scalpel?
Kidney stones.
missed the mark by more. He brought a, let's see, I wrote it down. A cheeseless truffle oil pizza with potato toppings.
That actually sounds pretty gross.
Like a gratin?
The potato did not
Tartare?
work at all. It just didn't work. It was just slices of potato
Jesus.
on top of carbs. It was more carbs on top of. I didn't. Potato.
Was it a
I didn't-
joke?
No, I didn't. This is us. Blame San Francisco. This is
How dare you?
not the Niners. But I mean, this is us trying to outfalute
Right.
the next guy. This is-
Arugula, yeah.
Right. It's just potatoes. There's no reason, but some people go, no one's ever done this before. Yes, for a reason.
Yeah.
And then they go, I'm going to do it. And he brought a box of vegan nachos.
What the fuck?
I
Not like chips?
There were
I bet it was like the cashew cheese,
chips
that
like
kind of thing.
buried in. I didn't even know.
Full on nacho. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out if it was nacho cheese chips.
A
or if
nacho
it was the
platter.
full-on.
It was cheeseless
Yeah.
nachos buried
Wow.
in greens. I mean, and I got to tell you, I mean, you're dealing with dudes there that would, literally eat a cow while it was still moving. Like
Right.
they're not into this at all. And everyone just said, and then a bunch of kids who want nothing to do with anything. And by the way, there is no such thing as vegan nachos. Like it is an utter shit show. So I had to make fun of him a little bit, but it was clearly high-end stuff. Like he'd spent money, he stopped
Yeah.
somewhere, he made an effort.
Probably went to Real Food Daily.
It's like saying Kanye West is wearing expensive clothes. It doesn't make it good.
But here's the thing. I just wanted to figure out why he's a vegan, isn't he? He was bringing stuff that he...
No,
What?
I don't think he's from Minnesota. He's
He loves a cheese curd.
built.
Yeah. Then I got nothing.
I got nothing either. It seemed like a goof, but if it's a goof, it's like a $45 goof. This is high-end stuff.
With no punchline.
With no punchline.
Except for you eating vegan food.
Right. So,
Wow,
no one really ate it. But
That's unfortunate. Did anyone make mention of it, even as a joke? Or
I may have brought it up.
did
but,
you?
Well, look. Everyone always says, why do you have to say something? And the answer is, because I don't want this to happen again.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You're in a weird intersection of, should you, somebody makes a dish, they screw it up a little bit, then they want to know if you like it, and if you tell them it's fantastic, then you're going to get that version of it next time.
Yeah.
So now you have to dance around this thing where you go, it's good, maybe next time a little more, and then they go, oh, see, it's always
Right.
something. But it's like, well, it's all...
That's on the person, though.
Yeah.
It's all an attempt.
I know you're right about this, and I can confirm this because right when I started here, I'd never made goulash. And so I brought you some, and it had... Do you think 2022 Gina would do this? No. But a young, less wise Gina brought you an unseasoned goulash with potatoes and egg noodles. Mm-hmm. And you gave me an earful in the zigzag at Burbank waiting to get into the security line. And
every time you pass each other, give me another. And another.
And I was like, it didn't bother me. It was a first time that anyone had ever said, because you go, next time, pick either the potatoes or the I like the noodles. And I was just like, I've never experienced this. This is really refreshing.
Refreshing.
Yeah. It was.
All right.
Because when people lie to you and blow you off, that doesn't feel good. They're like, it was great, thanks.
Well, I think most people prefer
Like it didn't freak me
that
out.
versus, well, yeah, it's the relationship with sort of being coached versus coached. Look, time is love. Write that down.
The more you know.
When you like anyone who's any coach, anybody's had employees, anyone who has kids, when you're taking time and you're going, hey, you got to do it this way, or here's a better way to do it, or whatever it is, that means you think the person has potential. You think they could start on the team.
I had a coach who used to yell at me. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't yell at you. You know what I mean? If I didn't like you, I wouldn't be telling you this.
Love to be that kid.
Well,
the
kind of thing where it's
kid.
like, if you didn't mean nothing to this team, it's just free ignore you.
The relationship you have with the homeless is basically the ultimate, I'm not going to coach you. Not only that, homeless guy comes up, starts talking about, laser beams and outer space and aliens, and you nod your head. Mm-hmm. You don't even try to talk them out of their own horrible ideas.
You got it, buddy.
Just want to wrap it up.
You just want to get the hell the other side of the street. So when people go, here's how you do it, you take in the spirit in which it's presented, which is they think there's something there.
Yeah.
You're both right about this. I think you're right. Most people are like, oh, you didn't like it, or oh, how dare you, whatever. But Gina and thankfully Christy are very like, they'll make something. They want to get to a point where it's awesome.
Yeah.
So if Christy's like, here, what do you think? And I'm like, that's good. I would do less jalapeno or whatever the thing is. And she's like, all right, cool.
Can you tell Andy, because he is so in love with me / afraid of me, that I beg, I beg. I go, I know this is too salty. I don't have any taste or smell anymore because of COVID. I know this is too salty.
He's your barometer.
Gina, it's perfect. I'm like, then okay. Next time I'll put a whole salt shaker in.
Real humble brag right there.
Yeah.
I bet on the Chiefs yesterday.
Oh, goody.
Which is like the crazy. Now
Were they giving away? Because they won by 4?
They're giving away 1.5.
Oh, nice.
Well, I got it 1.5. It went to 2.5 or something. I
Moot
couldn't,
point, though.
I couldn't figure out. I thought they would. Well, it's like our Chiefs going to win at home. At 1.5, you just go, are they going to win at home? If the answer is yes, I think they're going to win at home. Crazy.
Did they win by 3? They didn't kick the extra points. They must have won by 3.
They covered.
Okay.
But I guess they did.
They scored 6 points on the touchdown, and that's
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I was rooting for the Bills halfway into that game. It was such a crazy, gutsy game. I
The
always feel
hard luck
bad
Bills.
for the Bills.
Yeah,
Yes.
sad to say. Yeah, the hard and the Bengals to an extent, right? Like the
Yes.
hard luck Bengals.
Don't you kind of, well, as someone who knows nothing about football, I think of anything that came out of Ohio as kind of a shit show.
Well played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's kind of the,
Yeah.
The Bengals
except for
and
the
Browns
basketball.
are
yeah.
a couple of torture franchises.
Right.
Yeah.
We
Combined
also
0 titles
Yeah.
between them.
LeBron notwithstanding.
So now we got had this long conversation. Mike August knows football well, but he also has difficulty sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
He was just telling me how bad the Rams were, and I was
This
like,
year?
"Yes." And I was like, "Well, they destroyed Phoenix. Like they let Tampa right back into the game." I'm like, "Well, they ran up a score, then Brady got back.
They
and
are
then
the defending champs with maybe the greatest quarterback of all time.
at home."
It's gonna hard to hold them off.
At home, and he's like, they're just not doing it this year, man. They're letting these teams right back into the game. You can't let them back in. I'm like, they dismantled Phoenix last
Again
week.
with the Phoenix.
I mean,
Arizona.
last week they dismantled them. He's like, well, yeah, that's Kyler Murray had a bad. They had a defensive scheme.
Yeah.
He made them have a bad game. It's like but went a long circle about how bad the Rams were. To me, and he thinks the Niners have beat the Rams 6 times in a row.
That is true. Niners are playing really well. Gosh, they've gotten farther than I had any business expecting them to get this year. So anything on this is gravy or frosting or gravy frosting.
Yes, it'll be a great weekend. Now,
Are you going?
Well,
Come
I don't
on.
know. I don't know. It's so much better it's so much better at home now. It just is.
Uncle Norm must have a suite.
We could. I don't know. We'll see what's Sonny. Whatever the hell Sonny wants, that's what we do.
Hey, can I give you guys from the mouths of babes observation I made this weekend? Mm-hmm. Or yesterday or whatever the fuck it was.
Let me hit Simply Safe. Want to make your home feel safer? No better time than now. Simply Safe is giving my listeners access to their New Year's deal. 20% off plus your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring. It's a great company, great product. Peel and stick. Batteries last up to 10 years. No pulling wires. They got everything to make your home feel safe. Indoor and outdoor cameras, comprehensive sensors, all monitored around the clock by trained professionals. Named Best Home Security System 2021 by U.S. News and World Report. Start feeling more peace of mind and safer in the new year and take 20% off. Get your first month free when you sign up for interactive monitoring. No long-term contracts or commitments. Just visit Simply Safe, 2 I's in there, simplysafe.com/Adam today and get signed up. All right, we're doing favorite tweets and or like tweets with Chris Maxipata right after this.
Every 60 seconds, not 1, but 2 children are trafficked. And every 30 seconds, 1 is forced into exploitation for the purpose of heinous acts.
Human trafficking is happening in your own backyard. It is happening to your neighbors.
Many whom we see every day in our own communities, hidden in plain sight.
There's kids out there that are being bought and sold 20 times a day.
We must bring the child back to the center of our care and concern. Today we launch Goya Cares,
Goya Cares is committed to supporting victims and overcomers of trafficking and abuse to recover, restore, reconnect, and to shine the light that will block traffic.
This is where we become the light.
God saved me. I believe that I was called to this. Perhaps He's calling you too.
Block traffic.
Join Goya Cares and visit blocktraffic.org.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hi, Adam. This is Lindsay, 30, Phoenix. Felt extremely satisfied with the dishes talk the other day, as we too are a rinse and rack household and also provide every dirty dish to our dogs to clean before we have to. Thanks, and get it on. Bye.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Loving you, girl. Well, I brought you guys videos in the past of crows.
Indeed, you have.
And I got to tell you, somebody sent me one, tweeted me one that I'm over the moon about. It's maybe a couple years old, and it's probably from some different country, but it is not cooked or doctored. I'll play the intro, sorry.
Here's the tweets he liked. He didn't reply because he cannot type. Here's the tweets he liked. Send him by you to piss him off all day and all night. Here's the tweets he liked.
So, I think crows should be utilized. God knows, with all the crazy street crime that's going on these days, the attack crows, school shootings, everything.
Taking over mosque or temples.
Yeah,
temples, yes, synagogue.
Mosque and or temples.
Right. Never better use for my attack crows. It shall be. One day it shall be. But crows are smart, as I've said. They're problem solvers. They can recognize people's faces and everything. And they can use tools. They can be trained. I mean, they solve puzzles. We figured we saw that one. They can be trained to pick up litter to park, cigarette butts, and throw it in a waste paper can and get their treat. But they're also devious. And they're a little bit cruel. And they're angry. Birds are the scariest, angriest creatures on the planet. They just are. They're the meanest. They're consistently mean. And what I mean is like, well, you look at dogs, you got pit bulls and Labradors, and then there's things in between,
right.
So you got nice dogs, you got mean dogs, or tough dogs. All birds are mean.
Yeah.
They're all mean.
And they have the advantage.
Yeah. They come death from the sky. Now,
That's right.
This bird, I don't know how else to describe this video, but for no other reason than its own pleasure, is starting a fight between two cats. And egging this fight on like we're on a schoolyard. There's a cat on a roof.
Hot tin roof.
There's the crow down below.
Cat's like, what the fuck, buddy?
The crow poked him in the butt, got its attention. Cat's on high alert now.
Yeah, he's back up. He's back up poking around with the cat. Another cat's going to come into view. Now that cat's down on the lower tier roof, about 3 foot lower, and they're snarling at each other. And the crow's getting in between the two.
Oh, he goes find the other cat.
Now he's going and poking the other cat. Now the cats are agitated by each other and the crow at this point. He keeps poking at the one cat down below.
What's wrong with this dude?
He's antagonizing both cats, and then the cat gets up.
No. Oh my!
Now, as the cats tangle. The
crow is dancing in delight.
He gets his front row seat to the fight.
And he goes down. I think
now he's down watching.
He continues.
Now they're down on the ground level and they're fighting. If that crow lit a cigar and made a bet, I would not be surprised.
Oh my God! Down the storm.
They fell down into a well, into the storm cellar.
Oh, the crow follows
Crow's
him.
going down there.
Holy crap!
Shit.
At some point, the crow comes back up. I think the cats come back up at some point, too. It is how else can you describe this video other than the crow wanting to see the cats fight?
It's the Don King of crows.
Yes. Do they ever come back up, Chris?
Yeah, they'll come back up.
Oh, they'll come back up. At some point,
black cat emerges.
Cat's back up.
Oh, of course.
He's going in to mess with it. Now, what did the cat do to him, and what's he doing to the cat? And the cat is fighting a war on two fronts. He's fighting the other cat, and he's fighting the crow that won't leave him alone.
Initially, I thought maybe it was a territory thing, on the roof where the crow goes. But the crow is pursuing the cat subterranean.
Yes, and
he's just messing with
him.
He
just seems to enjoy watching them fight. As soon as he got them together, he jumped up and took his front row seat to the fight.
Yeah. As they tumbled off the roof, he flew down to watch.
As though he was missing
right?
It's insane. I don't like it.
That was great.
Well, I'm saying let's harness it and use it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
What I think we can all agree with is that wasn't an accident. That wasn't coincidence. That crow had a plan.
Yep, and was executed better than most people I know. If I said, go get those two stray cats to fight, they go, what the fuck you want from me? So there's also something that was going around. Someone tweeted me that the Weber Grill Company had to apologize.
Whoopsie.
For, well, Chris has it somewhere.
Every week they share a recipe of the week, and on Friday they sent it out. It's like a newsletter. It was for grilled meatloaf.
Delicious.
Yeah, it's delicious, but that's also the day that Meatloaf died.
Yeah.
So they followed up that email offering its, quote, sincerest apologies to the recipients.
I would believe them if it wasn't for the Bob Saget kebabs that they put
Poorly
up there
timed,
2 weeks ago. Because
The
now
kebabs,
it had the kebab.
Yeah.
The Bob kebab.
The Betty Other white meat.
Yes.
Right,
yeah,
right.
if they'd not had a history of this so recently. How do you grill? I love the idea of grilled meatloaf. But
Like on a plank.
you put a plank?
Yeah.
Like a steel plank?
Or probably like a cedar or those wooden.
Oh, no pan, you're saying?
I got a Weber guy. Oh my God, this guy works for Weber and he grills all their food and he's the photographer.
And he composes their emails.
I'll let you know. But yeah, I'm pretty sure like when he does like a grilled macaroni and cheese, oh my God, it's on like a plank in like a little skillet.
What do we need the grill for, though?
Deliciousness.
Oh, even
smoky.
the grill. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
what
you
I'm
can
saying.
use it like a convection oven, right?
I would think so.
Okay.
I'm
Like the way you make pizzas on a grill. You have the little attachment.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm gonna.
All right. Well, they apologized.
Anyway, they're very sorry.
So they wrote, at the time we shared this recipe with you, we were not aware of the unfortunate passing of American singer and actor Mr. Marvin Lee Ade, also known as Meatloaf. We want to express our deepest apologies for this oversight and for any offense this email may have caused. Signed, the Weber family.
All right.
You know what? For the first time in woke history of this show, I think that was a smart move. You know what I mean?
Apologizing?
Going like, just so we're all on the same page, this was not a joke about Meatloaf dying, like it was a coincidence.
Oh, yeah. I think there's clarification is fine.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Because it happens all the time where people go, oh, you did this. And you go, oh, that was not our intent.
Sure. It's a good example.
Completely fine. The problem we get into is when
whoever this hurt.
Patton Oswalt's apologizing for
right.
taking pictures with Dave Chappelle. That's the problem.
Right.
The clarification part, that there's only, look, if you're going to have celebrities named after many forms of meats and you're going to have grills and they're going to do a recipe, this is bound to happen once in a while.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So,
obviously.
All right, so they've apologized or at least made a clarification of / apology. That's fine. I'm obsessed with what's on the back of football players' helmets now. A lot of end racism and stop hate and all that kind of stuff. All my favorite players now, I realize, have their team name on the back versus something about unity, some bullshit thing about unity.
Don't
while
abandon
they're
your baby.
Trying to paralyze someone on another team. It's just insane. But somebody did tweet us this really funny picture, which was Aaron Donald, he had stop hate while he was choking another man of color.
A smiling cardinal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Although it's hard to tell
Is he
because
grimacing? Is he smiling?
could be grimacing, could be the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Not sure. You know what's interesting? I just thought about this. There's literally 11 different kinds of mouthpieces in the NFL. Not sure why they don't just
so standard.
I get the quarterback needs one. He can kind of talk through.
Yeah.
They also need a mouthpiece holder in the goddamn helmet. All they do is stuff them into the face mask and they fall out. And you see the guy looking for it, like Mike Tyson after he was knocked out looking for his mouthpiece.
Why does no one have the one that we had, which is connected? You have the loop and it's connected at all times. Pop it in, drop.
The defensive guys do.
They do? I'm taking note.
Quarterbacks never do.
What do you mean the quarterbacks have a mouthpiece they can talk through?
They have one that's built like an Invisalign retainer. That's much thinner and a little, they have less concussion to absorb.
They need an audible.
Not the one that looks like the tray when you're at the dentist. That's kind of the mouthpiece I'm thinking of. It's like really thick, with like the bite.
It's the one like if you ever get your teeth whitened and they make that little mouthpiece thing for you, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, I mean it's not that big bulky one that of days.
No, that's
of
for
yore.
linemen.
Okay, that's
no. You couldn't do as much talking,
right?
As they do. But the DBs have the ones that are attached to the helmets because you'll see them swinging around constantly while they're playing. Which I don't know. Now we've just added weight to your helmet and a little wind resistance and some counter pendulous of things swinging around. If you're not going to use it, get rid of it.
Did you just pop the plastic into your mouth and just go for the season, or did you do the thing where you boiled it and made it pliable?
Always boiled.
You got to boil it.
Always bit down. Gina, that meant it was time to play football when you got the mouthpiece.
Brand new mouthpiece.
I do that for bruxism. Is that not the same?
What's that?
Just the grinding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you boil it.
You boil it.
Make it malleable.
You dip it in cold water real quick.
That's called blanching.
Blanch it.
You blanch it.
Pop it in.
That's right.
And bite down on it.
Delicious.
And that's what you do. All right. We have somebody tweeted me a second grade yearbook in Portland. Ugh. I was kind of hoping this thing was doctored.
Oh, my God.
It's everybody in the second grade wearing a mask
my gosh,
for
all
the
wearing
yearbook.
masks.
It's a yearbook picture.
Oh, you're going to give this to grandma and grandpa? That's pathetic.
That sucks. That doesn't look real.
Sad.
Like it looks like an Onion article.
They take the pictures individually. They probably could have. Look, here's the whole thing about everyone in your fucking messages. This thing of like, well, yeah, but we're sending a message. Let's just send accuracy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and the message gets confusing. Like you go, well, kids are safe and kids are fine, but it's important they wear the mask like symbolically, or like Joe Biden's going to play with the dog on the beach alone, but symbolically you put the mask on. Well, the problem with when you do symbolic stuff, I'm not sure what the real stuff is. Like, I would much rather a world where Joe Biden went, well, I don't wear the mask on the beach because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But then if I go inside, I'll put the mask on because then that does make sense, or at least have something so I can tell the difference between symbolic and just something that's effective. But these poor kids.
And maybe if it was one of those pictures where they're all grouped on the bleachers and it's like, this is Mrs. Susie's second grade class. Mm-hmm. But literally, like you said, it's like you wait in line, you go in the room, you take your picture, you leave the room.
Right. Well, it's like they had to paint the mask on the outdoor kids at play sign in front of Matt's house. Like, all right, the whole problem with symbolism and the like is there's a tune-out factor after a while. People don't believe it. And then when you want to pitch important stuff later on, people go, is that important? Or are you just, this is another symbolic thing? But I feel bad for these kids.
This is going to go down in history as the getting under your desk in an air raid siren.
Yes.
Yes, that'll save you.
Have thermal nuclear devices, and you got to get under this 3/4 inch plywood thing.
We're all going to make it.
If your ass and head hang out a little bit, that's fine. That'll save us. But also, I did think philosophically, I was like, when these kids are 50, it'll be a funny timestamp of where we're at.
Yeah.
Grandpa, why do you all look like that?
That's why we did this pictures with Santa last year. Mm-hmm. We all had our masks on. We're all kind of shrugging. I mean,
you'll know
God
what
willing, when else will that be? Yeah.
We have somebody, I don't know if you guys remember this, but somebody tweeted me a Taco Bell offering of yore. I wish Taco Bell did like a throwback Wednesday or something.
I pitched that to Christy too.
Oh my God.
I did. I'm like, you actually bring back a thing for a week or whatever, periodically, be a huge success.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
basically all the same ingredients.
I know.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I always lament the loss of the Bell Beefer.
Sure.
But the enchilada, I forgot about the enchilada. I love the enchilada.
That looks good.
I don't know. It's a burrito enchilada. It's got cheese.
It's like a wet burrito.
Yeah, it's
Flour
good.
tortilla filled with ground beef taco meat, beans, diced onions, cheddar cheese, and red sauce.
Look at those sauce packets
Oh, yeah. Sweet sauce.
made for dipping.
Yeah. The enchilada went out about the same time the Bell Beefer went out. And
Discontinued in '93.
Oh.
It came back for a couple years in '99 and then discontinued again. But rumor has it it's like a Taco Bell secret menu item, and you could still order it.
Oh, you're going to piss off those kids so much if you ask for this.
is it really, though? Because it's got a dedicated little foil tray.
Yeah.
That
So
comes
those aren't
in.
lying around.
That's like a little TV tray, like a little TV food tray.
Yeah, what do you think? I bet that's not.
Well, when they brought it back, they did a couple things. They changed the serving container to be a pressed paper bowl, and they took out the olives when it made its return. So
Oh, the olives.
yeah, they're like
Weirdly,
3 sliced olives on top.
The garnish.
can we
Purely decorative.
divide the country into black olive and green olive country?
I think you can easily divide it into olive or no olive. I am no olive, no way, not for any price.
I love black olives.
Can't do it.
Over green olives?
I love them over green
You're
olives.
nuts.
Like the canned ones?
You're crazy.
Love them. Wow. I like green olives too.
I
Wow.
like black olives as well on my pizza or whatever, but given the choice.
Black olive. Well, so
You like
so
martinis.
to drill down, like we're talking about like a charcuterie plate or like meat and cheese, you want the green olives.
the
yeah?
green
Maybe the
olive
Kalamata.
brings more flavor, no doubt.
Briny.
Once in a while, it oversteps its boundaries a
Yes.
little. It can get a little aggressive sometimes.
Get that blue cheese out of there.
What we need is,
People like the blue cheese.
can you say mulatto olive?
Oh, boy.
We need to mate the black
Call
and
it a hybrid.
the green.
Isn't that what a Kalamata is?
Kalamata is a different type of
We need
brown
to get somewhere
Greek
in
olive
between.
with
The
a big
black
pit.
is just
doing
meat.
visual.
It's got a weird taste, but I like it. I liked it on the enchilada.
I like the
'em
presentation.
I like them on my pizzas. But for the martini, obviously the black olives,
Or
that's
just
a
to
no-fly
eat,
zone.
just to snack on. I would always go green.
I lived in Greece and I couldn't do it. I had to tell them in Greek I'm allergic to olives.
I think the key, if I was just sitting around and snacking on an olive, I think I would have to go eat a green, eat a black, eat a dick. No,
Go
eat a
on.
green, then eat a black, because I need to bounce back and
Yeah.
forth. One
Yeah.
is tough and aggressive, kind of vinegary.
yeah,
The other's a
mild.
little inert. But I miss the enchilada.
Is
All
the
right,
point.
We all
that's my point. All right.
Outro?
Yeah.
He'll rant on and he'll never get tired. Keep sending him the tweets he'll like.
Gina.
Theory. If we all, if fast food in general, all collectively decided to go back to their menu of the 60s, the 70s, and people continued to eat fast food, we would be so much healthier. Think of the portion size. Think of the stuff that isn't like made of the same shit that we, that's in plastic.
It was all regional, it was all
your
local.
fast food in back in your day and way farther back, less processed, better portion size, we would be much healthier. What was wrong with your fast food?
Nothing. And I think, as I think about Taco Bell, when they introduced sour cream, that's when they jumped the shark. When they started
Supreme.
bringing the sour cream in, that's
The extra.
when it became, all right, America, you're not fat enough.
I
We're
see.
taking,
Okay.
put another, hole in
Dollop.
in the front of your belt. Hey, Dr. Wendy Walsh is going to join us. I listen to her all the time on KFI.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great. I love old school talk radio.
Yeah.
I grew up on it.
She has a great, when she's talking about relationships, I remember she has a great phrase, water your garden, pay attention to the things that you want to grow. And I really like that.
Also has done a lot of film work. Heat.
I think she's the anchor person or reporter or whatever in a lot of movies.
Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow, The Cable Guy in The Mask.
Oh, boy.
Won some Emmys. Anyway, Dr. Wendy Walsh will join us right after this.
And now, a totally innocuous word that sounds dirty when Mike Dawson says it.
Rigid.
Ew. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Well, back with professor, author, radio host, TV commentator, relationship expert, Dr. Wendy Walsh has joined us in studio, and she's got a syndicated radio show that's Sundays 4 to 6 out here at KFI, which I listen to quite religiously. AM 640, and then also podcast Mating Matters as well. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
I love the old school radio people. I know you're moving forward, you're expanding, but I just grew up on it. I grew up listening to Dr. David Viscott out here, who you may recall.
Yep.
And it's comfort food to me listening to AM radio.
When I started in radios now 7 years ago, I did it like TV because I came from TV, right? I was a news anchor. I'd say, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And then Robin Bertolucci, our program director, she's
Sure.
like, the person who's listening to talk radio is in the back office in accounting with a little transistor by herself. And you need to just be her friend. And so now it's like.
That was a really good Robin, by the way. That's really good.
Hey, how you doing? So now it's just more intimate and personal. And then it's just like I literally pretend I'm just gossiping with a best friend.
Well, in a world where a lot of experts, experts in relationships, but even first off, when somebody says expert now, I used to go, oh, that guy's an expert. Now I'm like, oh, what's this idiot have to say now? But you hear a lot of so-called experts in relationships, and they talk about a lot of things, and you kind of go, but I don't do that with you. I go, she's right. I'm never going to do it, but she's right. So how did you come about this expertise?
Well, we are all wounded healers. I went through my young adult life as a hottie on television, dating every bad boy and player out there, and I was busy trying to analyze them.
Like who?
And, just don't even
Mark
get into it.
Any names?
If they had a Super Bowl ring and an Academy
All
Award,
right.
I was there.
All right.
So what I did is I erroneously thought there was something wrong with men. It never occurred to me that I was the one doing the choosing, and then maybe I had something going on with my own attachment style. So once I settled down to nurse my babies, I took the last man standing who, ended up leaving, and I went to therapy. I learned about attachment theory. I learned about attachment style. Then I needed more, so I got a master's and PhD in psychology. And I think of myself as an evolutionary psychologist because I'm always asking the question of what is natural for our DNA? What are we supposed to be doing here? And so love really is a real science. It's got biological pieces, psychological pieces, and social pieces. And once you understand it, the game of love is pretty easy once you figure it out.
What do you think about what's going on currently? And I'll tip my hand and let you know. I feel like society's telling us a lot of things that probably are not achievable. And we're telling women you can have everything, you can do everything, and then you can have love, and you can have a family. And it's like we're almost saying things that are almost on a biological level sort of impossible, and we've decided it's all going to happen right now and like right at once, and it's made for a lot of depression and unhappiness, I feel like, especially for a lot of women.
Well, I'll tell you what's happening. First of all, human beings are wired to bond. We know that people in long-term committed relationships, whether you're married or not, live longer, have better mental health, better physical health, and they accumulate more wealth. Nothing's more expensive than divorce, right? So,
no shit. Is that true? Find it out.
However, We also are in modern capitalism, which tried to create a mobile workforce. So it wanted to make humans that were, quote unquote, independent. And people brag when their baby is, oh, my baby's so independent, doesn't even look back for me. When actually the baby's growing a model for love at that moment, and they're supposed to be dependent. So now we're at a stage where we've entered the information age, where more women are actually in the American workforce than men. And they're trying to figure out how to meet their biological needs of pregnancy, nursing, early childhood raising with partners. I'm going to tell you, the guys that are winning the mating game right now are not the ones who are showcasing all the resources. They're the ones who are going to the powerful women and being a best friend, helper, and supporter. That's how men are adapting to this growing matriarchy.
Brian can tell you that.
And what are women doing to adapt, or are they?
Well, women are making a few mistakes. First of all, I understand how important it is for women to erase the sexual double standard, the one that gives men points for sexual experience and gives women demerit points. So what they're doing is they're out there on TikTok and everywhere else showcasing promiscuity. But what you don't see is them crying in the therapist's office the next week because he didn't call back. Right? So our intelligent bodies become attached through sex. Sex is still a higher risk hobby for women than it is for men. We are more likely, because of our unique biology, to contract an STI. We are more likely to fall in love with a loser because our bodies emit so much oxytocin during a hookup. And then we're more likely to catch an 18-year case of parenthood. So as a result, women are supposed to stop and be choosy and assess, and that's what our female ancestors did, and that's why we're here today, because we have great female mating strategists in our history. But women are adopting what some of them think is a male model of sexuality. And I always say, if you adopt a male model of anything, that's not female freedom. It's a new kind of trap. And what we do know about male sexuality is that we have the widest range of sexual behavior of any primate species and the widest range of paternal investment. In other words, you're going to get one guy whose only investment in his kids is 1 teaspoon of sperm. And at the other end, you're going to have the baby-wearing, softball-throwing, carpool driving, doting dad. And it's up to women to figure out who's who. And they're not doing their job right now.
How is it not obvious?
See, you're a guy, but not to women.
Do you think part of it is, because I've heard this a lot, I've experienced this in my life, part of it is, I see what I'm seeing, I can change that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because women fall in love with hope all the time. That was my big problem, is I used to fall in love with what he could be, what he could do. No, the best he will ever be is how he pretends to be on a first date. That's the best. That's Academy Award-winning performance. It doesn't get better than that at that point. So if you're thinking that you could improve a few things on the first date, he's already killing it trying to get you in bed. It's not going to get better.
Yeah, probably same with hygiene. You never do better than that first date.
True.
I mean, it's a very good point. If you go on the first date and you go, well, I'll give him a C- in this department, maybe B in that department, but a D in that department. That is him at his best.
Right.
That is his best game
Best effort.
he can put out there.
Yep.
So figure it's going down from there, not the other direction. But it also strikes me as I get older and I see how many people are just a product of their past, and that's everybody, but I just mean...
So you brush your teeth in the mirror?
Hanging on. Yes, with those things. Just that... It seemed... It always felt... When I used to do Loveline, and, some young 17-year-old was in love with this guy who was an abusive alcoholic, but her dad was an abusive alcoholic. And I'd go, well, she should know firsthand then how horrible this relationship is or how you can't change them. Seems like it's counterintuitive from a wiring, an evolutionary standpoint of wiring, which is, my dad was a horrible alcoholic, so I'm going to marry a horrible alcoholic. That doesn't feel like good evolution.
But it's textbook.
To me.
Yeah.
It is.
So what happens is we form a model for love in our head, and we will go and find that model in our adult romantic world. And that model was created in the first 3 years of life, usually when we're pre-verbal. And so the game of changing your attachment style is becoming aware of your patterns and making difficult and sometimes uncomfortable choices.
But who are the people? So, we throw it around a lot. Well, of course, he didn't raise his kids. He that's all he knows. His dad abandoned him. And on one hand, you go, all right, that makes sense. On the other hand, there's always a group, and they're not that outlier-ish. I mean, there's large-ish groups of people who goes, I know firsthand what it's like to be raised by an absentee dad. I've made my promise I would never do it. Who are those people? Like, how come some people, that's my dad, by the way, I was raised that way, and I was like, I'm not going to have kids until I'm older. I want to make sure I can take care of my family. I want to spend time. I had different thoughts.
But wouldn't that be, some people have the capacity for enlightenment or enlightened thinking and some don't or choose not to?
Some people don't realize their damage. They say, I turned out fine. I was spanked, right? You hear that all the time.
Right.
I was hit and I turned out just fine. Look at you with your drinking and your alcoholism and your depression and anxiety, right? And so, yeah, you can go one of two ways. You can say, I'm going to do something different, or you can just unconsciously follow old patterns over and over. And by the way, these people love to rationalize that they're not the problem. It's always the partner, society, this city. This is a bad city for dating. There are no bad cities for dating. You're a bad mate. That's what you're finding.
Well, why would you live in a bad city for dating if you're single? I mean, if it was the groundwater or the soil or what are we talking about? I know. It's always, people say that all the time, Brian.
Can I ask a related but specific question? Maybe it applies to some of our audience too. I have a 5-year-old daughter. What can I do or a parent do at this point to sort of ensure good relationships in the future? You know what I mean? What give us your advice, please.
I think the single most important thing that parents can do with children, whether they're young or old, is simply respect their feelings and give them words for their feelings. Because this is how we learn good mental health and good mental hygiene, is we have insight. Emotional intelligence is about being aware of our feelings. Secondly, it's about having a word to describe that feeling and being able to share it with others. And third, because of those two functions, you have more empathy for other people because you know what it feels like and now you can see it in them. And so having parents who say, go to your room, come back when you've changed your attitude, or just cheer up.
Or you're fine.
You're fine. Suck it up. Right, is not the best, right? Instead, you want to be like, what are you feeling? Okay, so it looks like you're sad because you didn't get invited on the play date. Let's talk about what that feels like. And then she now has a model in her head that a man is somebody who will give her emotional care and allow her to have a voice.
Okay, follow-up question. My 5-year-old daughter is in a class of 9 people, 5 of which are boys, and she kisses them all and says, I'm going to marry so-and-so. And the next day, he's my husband now. And should I be alarmed about that? Because it feels
weird. This
is
practicing social roles, and it's really fascinating that marriage has been on the decline now for 20 or 30 years. Right. In 1950, 75% of adults over the age of 18 were married, and now less than 50%. So we know that marriage is on the decline, and yet the Cinderella complex, I always say part of the problem with women in dating is that patriarchy is swimming in their own heads too, right? So they've got this idea of this prince in the castle that's just going to rescue them and solve all their problems, and that we got to get rid of. So, I mean, if she talks about who's her husband, then you might use more gender-neutral terms like, and what is your job going to be when he does the dishes at home?
Fair enough. Yeah.
What's your thoughts about the COVID thing, and I have twins, they're 15, but it's been 2 years of COVID for them.
It's so hard.
I think my daughter got a little PTSD from it. She was freaked out. Where were you? Don't come back in the house, wipe everything down. And then you go to the more global thing, which I remember from the 70s. It wasn't called climate change back then. It was ecology, and I think we're going to have an ice age, and then we're going to overheat. And then at some point, we just went, fuck it, we'll call it climate change. But I worry this constant beating of we got 12 years before the planet implodes, or there's going to be a new variant coming down the road every 10 seconds. If it's just not scrambling all the young kids' heads,
I think the big thing that scrambled their heads in the last 2 years was the lack of social connection and practicing social friendships during COVID. And doing it digitally is not the same. I know because I teach college, and we got back in the classroom this semester, and I couldn't get them to stand up to even introduce themselves or say anything. The social anxiety, the shaking, the writing me emails, Professor, I can't, don't call on me in class.
Really?
The amount,
these are college age.
College age. The amount of social anxiety because they've been home on computers for 2 years and not talking to anybody when they're supposed to be making out in the backseat of cars and going to parties and what have you. So that's been the big thing. But as far as the end of the world, when I was a kid, it was about nuclear war. It was a Cold War, right? There's always this impending. Human beings have one fear. And if you look at everything else you fear, it boils down to the one fear of dying, right? So we are survivalists. We are meant to survive in situations. So we have to find things to sort of hang that basic fear of survival on. And now it's global warming. And so we have to learn as human beings to live in the unknowing. We have to live in really not knowing what's going to happen. I mean, I could have a car accident on the way out of here, and I hope I said I love you to everybody before I came to the Adam Carolla show, right? Like anything could happen. So we have to still go forward. The other thing humans are amazing planners. We look forward. Mental health is directly correlated to looking forward, planning to the future. When you're young, there's lots of plans to be made, plans for college, plans to potentially get married if you're going to do that or have children. And as you get older, you got to think of new things. I'm going to have this post-retirement life. I'm going to take up this hobby. I'm going to travel, whatever. Those plans keep us alive. So I think that's what we need to do with young people is talk about plans more in the future.
Brian?
It just reminded me what Wendy said of when we were watching the View clip. Remember, I don't know who it was, someone off screen, when the one woman was talking about Omicron and Omicron this and blah, and the one woman pipes up and goes, well, what about the next variant? It's like, okay, well, yes, there may be another. There probably will be. We'll deal with that when we get there. The plan, or we'll plan for that when the time comes or when we know what the parameters are.
But in the meantime, let's dance.
Yes.
Well, and I think that's the thing, like you're saying, between micro and macro, we are good planners. We are not good acceptors. People can't accept if somebody dies. People can't accept being broken up with. People can't accept it. And once you can kind of start living again.
And also, give yourself the time to grieve. You're not supposed to just suck it up and get, it's okay to be sad. One of the most interesting pieces in relationship science that's been happening is, if you heard that somebody had an online relationship with somebody for 10 years and found out it was a catfish or the person suddenly died, you would laugh and say, well, it's their own fault, right? Mm-hmm. But if you are young, you'd be like, oh, that's terrible. Totally understandable, right? Because we now know that the brain doesn't know a whole lot different between imagination and reality. Mm-hmm. And you can have an emotional relationship with a fake person, even a bot. I mean, bots will be there, already have bots in China because they have an oversupply of single men because that one baby rule.
Yep, that's right. There's video games online where girls can pretend to have husbands and vice versa.
There's an operating system where she's got 700,000 boyfriends and she learns everything about them. Because what happens is whenever you start to, so the way human evolution works is generally there are more boy babies born than girl babies because you guys have that fabulous testosterone that makes you take risks like walking up to a girl and asking for her phone number. But other risks involve driving motorcycles too fast, getting in bar fights, etc. So you die off a bit. And then by the time we reach age 40, we got about the same amount of men and women. And then you know what happens in the old age homes. Any guy with Viagra is doing just great, right?
the casserole, what do I call it, Casserole Express or whatever.
Exactly. Yes. But what happens when the government manipulates that by doing a one baby rule where parents were aborting female fetuses, right, is that then you get this very frustrated, angry group of marauding males in the lower classes that they're good if you want to send them off to war, right? But otherwise, you got to do something with them. So they created bots for them.
Talking about China, obviously, my mean grandmother, I have little flashes of her being mean to me throughout the show, throughout most days. Yeah. And when I was, I've told it before, but Wendy will enjoy it. She's my mean Brian had a mean grandmother too. So maybe we should start an encounter group or support group. I love this. We get around, pull up a chair. I'll bring donuts. We get in a circle and we all just trade. My grandmother said,
"Mean ass grandmothers of America, MAGA."
I already got the hat. I'm dying to dust that thing off for a while. So, and she said, she's telling me, yes, in the old age home, it's 10 to 1 women than men, and I must have been 18 and a half, but I had a sense of humor, and I was like a wiseacre, it's like the old age home's 10 women for every one dude, and I go, well, at least I got something to look forward to, and she goes, What makes you think you're going to be the one who survives?
Oh my God, she can't stop.
I was literally 19.
So you let the joke
Could
land.
have just laughed it off. Had to, rightfully so, statistically point out to me that I would not be the rooster
Right,
in the hen
house.
house, that I'd probably be in the ground. Statistically, and she's correct, but couldn't just
Doesn't need to be said.
laugh it off with your teenage grandson. Had to be mean.
She's also the one who on television said, I can't believe you got famous. You have no charisma, no charm.
Yeah.
And she's not joking.
No.
She believes this? Or does she have your sense of dry humor?
No,
It was all a joke.
no, she
Very dry, bone dry.
she believed it.
Wow.
That was her thing.
Wow.
She was one of those people. Now, I'm only angry at her because she ruined my mom.
Yeah, of
because
course.
that's her mom.
Yeah.
And then I got that for mom. Like
Yep.
Miss Bummer USA got raised by the horrible woman who that was her mode all the time. So like, I would get fragged by her, but I didn't live with her. She didn't raise me. It wasn't a 24/7 bummer fest. My mom got the 24/7 bummer fest and just broke her. And then my mom, the broken mom, attempted to raise me. And whenever I'm mad
You get
at
what you see here.
when I'm mad at my grandmother for breaking her daughter, not trying to break me. Although she gave it the old college try.
Broke you vicariously. But this is why comedians are so fortunate to have found humor, right? So Sigmund Freud said there are only two healthy defenses against psychic pain. One is sublimation, where you take your pain, you find somebody else with the same pain, and you attend to them. That's why people who overcome addiction often become addiction counselors. People who suffered child abuse will help heal, work with abusive children, or abused children. Thank you.
What is abuse?
They can be both.
They can be both.
Hurt people.
But the other is humor. Because what humor does is it allows you to eject the pain, flip it upside down, and kind of work through it. So find a way to almost rationalize it and find the funny in it. And I even tell my students that, if they can find the way to find funny in any bad situation, it can, in the moment, help them through it. Yeah, but that's why comedians have to keep performing. You can't just retire, by the way. Forever and ever, you have to tell jokes.
It's easy for me.
You don't want to sit with your thoughts for too many years.
Adam will die on stage or in front of this mic. One of the
That's right. Well, then you wonder, where does the humor come from? Because we've talked about it. Oh, is the pain create the whatever? But the thing about the humor...
Well, it's always comorbid with high intelligence. I will say that. You see, we evolved to have humor.
Where were you when I was in high school? I was trying to tell people there's something here.
Humor evolved as a mating strategy and a signal of high intelligence. So here's research that was done by Dr. David Buss, the University of Texas. 10,000 participants in 33 countries. This is cross-cultural human stuff, and they found that when women are looking for a mate, they're going to still look for resources first. If you see identical twin brothers and one's poor and one's rich, there's no question who you're going to date, right? Then the next thing they look for is intelligence, because if during a harsh winter where you couldn't find any food or the stock market crashes, he better be smart enough to figure out another way to get food to those babies, right? And so intelligence is a really high status indicator for mating strategy. But you can't go on a date and do, bring an Excel spreadsheet and do some calculations for people. You have to find a way to showcase it. And humor is the way that we evolve, because you have to know your audience, you have to have no social references, you have to be quick, and you have to turn things around. And so there you go.
Stop telling women they're liars when they say, I really like him, he makes me laugh. That's important to me.
Super important.
Guys love to brush that off like we're all lying. It's true.
Well, actually, I did an episode of Mating Matters called F is for Funny, and I had a number of comedians on, but also I talked to men, and I said, do you know when women over-laugh at your jokes? And they said, we know every time, but we know she likes us when she does that.
Yeah,
so they expect that too.
Oh, yeah.
Twirl your hair.
Faking it.
I've never encountered over-laughers. I feel like they
just a
under-laugh
cackler.
a little bit. But
Under-laugh.
well, no, to make your point, when I used to work and employed a bunch of people, I just remember one time, maybe I was working on the Man Show, and maybe we had a receptionist or something, and she was saying something complimentary or something, and then I went in the office, and then one of the guys I was working with she's just kissing your ass. She's brown nosing. And I said, yeah, I like that. That's a big deal.
Now you know, right?
It means more than a sincere laugh. If you really think about the origins of why somebody would fake laugh, I like it. To me, it's all, well, this is an interesting point. And then we'll do another 20 minutes on why people with a sense of humor are geniuses. Because I definitely want to double back to that. But I am 100% motivation wired, which is to say, you can do anything you want to me as long as I think you're trying to do something good, but it didn't work out. And I've had it happen a million times. I've had priceless cars dented and dinged and scrapped, but the person that did it was trying to wash it or trying to do something.
So you examine intention.
It's all intention, and there's no reaction once the intention is good or sincere. Once the intention is just sort of lazy, or there's a lot of projection, or there's a lot of externalizing, or then I'm immediately pissed off. You screw up, you go, sorry, not going to happen again. Boom. There will be no more discussions. But if you want to do laps, then we'll do laps. Now, most people, I've noticed, your average person, you're in their house and you knock over a wine glass and it breaks and they go, oh man. And then you go, oh, sorry. And they go, why'd you do that?
Yeah.
And then you go, I'm sorry, my elbow hit. Well, you should be more. It's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Why is this a default? Now, if you see me hold the glass up and throw it on the ground,
to make a point,
by all means, or it's a Greek wedding or something, by all means, yell at me. But if you see that it was a mistake, no one could be more sorry. I feel this way. Sometimes you're driving, you're at a four-way stop, you're looking, then all of a sudden someone steps off the curb, you inch forward and you stop, and the person's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and you're like, sorry, my bad. You almost hit me. It's like, sorry, that coma. It's like, really? This is your wiring. You didn't.
They're thinking that somehow you did it intentionally to them, that you saw them and sped up.
Why are more people just sort of motivationally wired?
Okay, so you're talking about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, right? And so some people literally think that they are the victims of the world and the world is manipulating them and they're just being tossed around by the winds and people. Other people have a sense of, I have an internalized locus of control here and I can make some decisions for me. I can impact on my world. I can make decisions. Going back to dating, there's this trend right now on Twitter and everywhere called West Elm Caleb. You know about this one?
No.
Okay.
No.
So in the last 2 days, if you just Google hashtag West Elm Caleb, this poor young man in New York who apparently works at West Elm and his name's Caleb.
Furniture store?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but all his social media has been taken down because he's being attacked by trolls right now. So he went on a date with a young New York woman who he love bombed her. He treated her very well. It's not clear whether she had sex with him or not. He sent her a Spotify playlist that he said she inspired him to make, and then he ghosted her. And so she made a TikTok video about this, and then all these other New York women came on board. Wait, I had a date with West Elm Caleb. He did the same thing. Wait, I thought that Spotify playlist was for me. So I have to remind people, all these women are up in arms. And I'm like, do you think for a minute that a guy doesn't have an A game, that he's tested out with certain people, that Spotify playlist has worked once, it's going to work 20 more times? That is called classic human mating strategy. So my point is that women teach people, or all of us, we teach people how to treat us. We have control over what happens to us in our life. It's not like West Elm Calebs are just around beating up women. Women are falling for it. Women are having sex with him. Women are being ghosted. So if you're not sure that he's going to stay around for a while, take your time. Slow things down. What's harm in that?
You're so right to your point. Remember, we did a story, I don't know, a year or two ago that someone had created for Tinder, because that's swipe right, swipe left. Women will look at the picture, decide, show their friends, and then decide. And because it's such a numbers game, especially for dudes who are just trying to get laid, there's an automatic robot finger that just swipes everyone, and so
they see who likes them.
Exactly,
and women will find one profile, read into it, share it with 5 friends, decide, and then say yes. And meanwhile, The guys just swipe on absolutely everything. Yeah. I mean, I am a woman of a certain age. A few years ago, just for fun, I went on Tinder, and within 24 hours, I had 2,000 matches. I'm like, oh, come on. I got no eggs that are working here. You know, I'm not 24. What the hell? And then I realized that's the game. They all say yes, and they're waiting for me to say yes back.
Here's an interesting test in the people, the people that get agitated or aggravated versus the motivation. If you ever drop a significant other off, you ever do that move where you go like, I'm going to drop you off in front of the market. They're going to run in. They're going to get the pre-ordered whatever from the deli thing, and then you're just going to circle the parking lot. Of course, and they're going to come back out because there's no parking spot, and they're just going to run in. I will give them an unlimited amount of time in that store, because if they don't come out in 20 minutes, something is going on in the store. Now, a lot of people are like, after 15 minutes, like, what the fuck are you doing in there? It's like, well, I'm waiting in line, or the shit's not ready. The stuff's not ready, or something. I know. There's an explanation. And you do I've been circling the parking lot for 20. Yeah.
But that is a bid for care, right? So that's the angry baby whose mommy didn't come to the cradle when they had the wet diaper or when they were hungry. And so they go through life believing that people don't care about them. So if you spend more time in the store, they can't even get into the headspace of, maybe she's having the baker put my name on the cake, right? They have to get to a place of, they're abandoning me, they're hurting me. And this is what screws up relationships.
It's insane that so many adults are that way, because there is a scenario where they're just sitting on the ground, Indian style, reading Tiger Beat magazine in the magazine aisle, but I've ruled that out.
Very unlikely.
I've just assumed there's a long line at the deli, whatever, and they can have as much time as they like. I don't give two craps.
What's the best case scenario for someone who is like that? That damaged person, the person who reacts
histrionic.
Yeah, exactly. Do they find someone like them? Can they change?
Hopefully not a histrionic personality disorder. That's very serious. But let's just talk about run-of-the-mill attachment anxiety, right? So you've got people who have a lot of anxiety around attachment. They worry about threats of abandonment, etc. You got other people, by the way, who are so smothered by their parents that they feel engulfed very easily, and they're avoidant. And those two people find each other all the time. They have very long relationships, but they're very painful. So because they fulfill each other's necessary idea of love, like, I'm going to be longing and they're going to be pushing me out. And the other person's like, this person's going to smother me. And don't put gender on it. It can be any gender who have these attachment styles. So in answer to your question about anxiety, so the first thing people need to learn is become aware that their anxiety is irrational and that they need to find some coping strategies, whether it's simple things like exercise and meditation and self-help journaling, whatever, but also going to therapy to say, hey, so this happened, and say we're in the grocery store too long, and I literally got so mad. I don't know why. They always say, I don't know why I was so mad. Because they don't. They haven't figured it out. And then the therapist will say, well, let's just talk about your childhood. Is there something that you remember feeling that angry about before? You go through enough stories, you get to the scene of the crime. And then after a while, you don't need to circle back to the scene of the crime over and over. It's like our brain is trying to solve early childhood conflict over and over and over and over. And we use these walking adult bodies that we find on dating apps.
Who don't, and with these brains that don't really understand time passage. So you're back in that crib or whatever you said it was,
exactly,
with the soiled diaper.
Yeah, your body remembers. So this stuff is hard to get to in therapy because it's pre-verbal. You don't really have a narrative. Fortunately or unfortunately, your parents that were mean to you at 12 months were probably mean to you at 12 years too. So you have some indicators of what happened. But the real work of the neural pathways forming happens in the first year of life, when the brain triples in size.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm a stepmom, and I've known my little boy for 4 years, and I don't have any biological kids. So I'm constantly trying to figure out, Yes.
Can I interrupt you to say
Yes.
something super important?
Yes.
So we place so much emphasis on parenting and biology when we evolved to be cooperative breeders, and we do actually know that whether that baby has your DNA, your biology changes by caring for that child, loving that child. Your
I agree.
estrogen goes
I
up,
agree.
your oxytocin goes up, and there are literally biological changes that happen to adoptive parents, step parents, etc. Because we are wired to take care of the whole tribe.
Well,
so you
that's
are a parent.
actually very validating. Thank you.
You're a real biological
I know.
parent.
When I say I'm a parent, depending on the audience, there could be some pushback. But he's my stepson, and he's with us all most of the time, and 50-50. And I try to do my best of modeling a great relationship with his dad, and do all these things. But it's extra sticky because I'm a child of divorce and all the craziness and the antics with my parents. I don't want to fulfill that evil stepmother role, but I don't want to look like I'm not there for him. So it is like this. Is there any difference when it comes to mothering when you put those titles in play?
Don't try to discipline a child until you've earned their respect. Right? A child is never going to respect any human, whether it's a teacher or anybody that they don't respect. So you don't get to be the rule maker or the disciplinarian because you will just cause an even greater knife in your relationship until you earn their love and respect. Now, love and respect doesn't mean being the mushy, no-boundaried best friend. Let's be friends. But it means modeling care, modeling, sharing your own emotions, being able to say, I'm sorry, I literally messed up here. You were right. We should have, whatever.
We do that a lot.
Then they start to respect.
Yeah.
But you mentioned modeling the relationship with this child's father. So our model for love is made up of 3 relationships. The relationship we witness between our parents, and then the individual relationship we have with mom and we have with dad. We also know that kids can have multiple attachment figures. So his relationship's actually going to be more like 4 or 5 if his mom is remarried, right? And it all becomes a jigsaw puzzle of pieces based on the snippets of what we're getting in these relationships around us.
Right. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting 10 years.
What do you
12
think
years.
as religion declines? I'm a non-religious person, but I do realize it has a place and importance. And I feel like
what are we replacing it with?
Well, I've got a good front row seat to what we're replacing it with, which is whatever. Just whatever. But it becomes a religion, as I've learned during the whole COVID situation. It scares me that religion leaves and then there's a vacuum and then something, because we're humans, has to replace it. Some of it could be good, some bad, but I feel like it's a problem.
Adam's got the big questions. Let's just start right off.
Yes.
Meaning of life. Okay, so let me see. I teach health psychology, and there's so much data on religiosity, especially in the third half of our life. The more religious actually live longer. They have better mental health, better physical health, etc. They may not have more wealth because they're donating it all to those crazy institutions, but I don't know if you know the philosopher Alain de Botton. He's great. He's a very modern day.
Oh, stop bringing him up.
That's right.
Yeah.
He has a great TED Talk called Religion for Atheists. Mm-hmm. And he was raised by academic parents who basically said religion is a bunch of nutso, whatever. And then he started looking at his friends who got to go to church and they got to have the theater of the church and the incense and the music and the great art and the beautiful architecture and the community of people. He's like, wait, we're missing out on a lot of stuff here. And so he actually, I think he even wrote a book called Religion for Atheists, where he breaks down how you can have every piece of religion without believing the magic.
Wow.
That you can get the sense of community, you can get all these other things. So it's possible.
Yeah, well, the Sabbath is great. And I'm not religious, but I see there's a benefit, micro and a macro benefit. And I'm worried that we're kind of turning into a sort of free-for-all. I think what I'm sensing is narcissism. Everyone's just sort of turning to their own religion and their own world and not having that sense of a power that's outside of them.
Well, some people believe God is a big cop in the sky. And generally those people, kind of the born-again people, have a pretty chaotic interior. So they're looking for hard rules.
Right.
Those are the kind of people that are gravitated toward hard-ruled institutions, police force, military, etc.
Right.
Follow the rules. But I think what you're saying is people that are not that and don't want to believe in some kind of higher power are trying to figure out like how, for instance, every religion in the world has some form of chanting or meditation, whether you're saying the Hail Mary over and over on a rosary or you're going, And we do know that this calms our biology. It's a vibration thing that happens. So they're finding these other ways. I might say that in public school, it's so fascinating since we took the Lord's Prayer out of public school and made God go away. The new God in public school is the planet, right? It's all about planting the garden, having the chickens, learning about all very good. But I also think it's implanting that fear of the end of the world because they're learning about the global warming.
Yep. Yeah. You need, I think, you said earlier, everyone's sort of number one fear is their own demise. You know what I mean? And
religion gives you a nice, tidy ending for all of that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've now pushed in a lot of the planet, lots of stuff. I don't see it it judges. It goes, hey, Dad, hang out. You got to raise your kids. That's your responsibility. There's some judgment involved with religion. And I'm a huge fan of judging because we've screwed our... Well, look, I've said it once, but I really do mean it. We've crafted a society where we're more judgment in our society for a smoker than a dad who doesn't raise a child.
Yeah.
That's not the right direction to go.
Yeah.
And if you don't hang out and raise your kids, we're going to have a lot of fucked up kids, and then we got to deal with them as a society. And it drives me nuts when the politicians are like, where'd all these guns come from? It's like, where'd all the people who shoot other people come from?
Yeah.
Or push people on subway platforms or stab people? Like, but where'd this come from? It's like, I don't know, but we got a lot of people think it's a good idea to shoot strangers. Where did they come from? I bet we could look into
Some
that.
dysfunctional families.
I bet they didn't have great dads hanging around and raising them. A lot of dysfunction.
Well,
I'd like to look at that.
You talk about judgment, and I think that goes along with shame within a community and self-policing, the community self-policing.
Yes.
And you have that in a
But it's like saying, well, where'd all this fast food come from? It's like, where did all the people think it's a good idea to eat fast food all the time come from? Because I don't think
just following the market.
I don't think we're getting rid of the fast food. I don't think we're getting rid of the guns.
The fast food has hijacked our biology starting from a very young age and put in very addictive ingredients. And so I often say, because I teach health psychology, let's use the example of the epidemic of obesity that we have in this country. Obesity is a biopsychosocial event. First of all, starting from the first bottle of baby formula, kids start with processed food that has too much sugar in it and their body gets addicted to it. That's the bio. Then the psychological. People eat their feelings because of early childhood trauma. And then the social. Everywhere we go, there's carbohydrate-laden food that is very addictive.
Oh, I know you're keto,
I'm
right?
keto. I've been keto. My cardiologist put me on keto 4 years ago.
Oh, wow.
After an emergency room visit where I had an emergency gallstone that had to come out right away. And then I went into the internet and I'm like, what are gallstones made out of? Cholesterol? I've eaten a low-fat diet my whole life. How can I have high cholesterol? It's sugar. Wow.
Adam, do you remember that I had my gallbladder removed for gallstones? When I was at Loveline.
Oh, yeah.
When I was young, 25 or whatever it was, I had gallstones. Hereditary. My mom and my grandma both had them, but really painful, as you know. Had to have it taken out. And that was a story I like to tell in my book about going to Dr. Drew, the only doctor I knew at the time. And I was like, hey, I'm getting my gallbladder removed. Is it concerning at all? Blah, blah. He's like, where are you having it done? I'm like, I think Daniel Freeman Memorial Hospital down the way. He goes, yeah, good luck. I'm 25.
Well, he also had some things to say about your diagnosis, if I remember correctly.
Oh, he said it to you.
Oh, that's right. He didn't say it to you.
You asked, I have a brain tumor.
He has an inoperable brain tumor.
When Adam learned, he went to Drew, and we can take it from there. Do you remember what happened?
Well, I talked to Drew and Dr.
It was a long time ago.
Oh, they both said
Thank
6.
God.
I went to 2 doctors, and they both said 6 months.
Well, Drew was like, well, if it's...
And this is like a decade ago?
Over a decade.
2009, yeah. Drew said, if it's stable, we can work with it. If it's growing and causing problems, it's bad news. And Adam's like, well, it's growing and causing problems. Drew's like, oh, boy.
Well, he said like 6 months. I think they both said 6 months, but it was based on to be fair to them, before you had the experimental medication, I think.
Yes, it was. It was initial diagnosis.
It was...
How terrifying.
That was a little scary.
Wow.
It was... I mean, historically, a fast
a 6 to 12 month
sentence.
situation.
So
don't feel sorry for him because 5 years ago, 5 years and 9 months ago, he comes in here very solemn saying that I can't even say it without getting choked up. There's been another growth. It's still growing. He's been given like 7 months for a new baby. That was his way of telling us. So don't feel sorry for him. That was a horrible thing he did to us.
I still feel bad about that.
Yeah, well, Drew, Drew's always Debbie Downer with the stuff. When I had my hernia surgery, he told me I was going to be out for a week. I mean, he does that. That's his.
He told me to stay out of here for another week.
That's his move.
But he's been really right on stuff, too. You know, for 3 years, I was part of his behavior bureau on HLN. So I spent so much time in the green room with that man. And I remember when I first started to go through, like, little menopausal symptoms. I know it's surprising to you that I'm old enough to have menopause. But he was like... No, like, really, you shouldn't even be driving. Like, when you're in the brain fog, it can be, and I'm like, you're right, it's really hard. And he sent me to a woman to get all the hormones, and I became 25 overnight. It was great.
Get on the testosterone, is what
I'm on it all.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Is it the bioidenticals, or?
No, it doesn't make a difference. Your body can't tell the difference.
I was very curious about that.
So, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, I wouldn't miss.
Yeah. All right.
The big three.
Holy Trinity.
You hang out, Dr. Wendy, with us. We'll take a break. We'll come back and do the news right after this.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's rep says he's doing okay after being involved in a crazy car accident Friday night in L.A. The rep says he's fine. His only concern right now is for the woman who was injured. I have a couple of pictures, and I'm going to explain what you're seeing right now. TMZ says Arnold was driving a Yukon SUV when it collided with a red Prius, which it is under right now in the picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, his SUV started to roll and ended up on top of the Prius, then continued to roll onto a Porsche. Is it a Taycan?
Yeah.
So it's on 2 cars right now in the picture. The woman who was driving the Prius was reportedly badly injured. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ that they believe the accident was Arnold's fault. They say he was turning left, but there was a left turn arrow that was still red. He was not ticketed. An eyewitness said the crash was, it looked like something from a stunt movie. So he did not wait until it was safe to turn his left.
No. So my campaign, doctor, is to turn through all red turn arrows when the signal is green.
That's 100% true.
Mm-hmm. Been doing it for...
Since I've known you.
Since you've known me.
Since
been 20
early
years.
2000s.
Never got a ticket.
Yeah.
Now,
neither did Arnold.
The light has to be green.
Funny,
and the arrow has to be red. And then there has to be no cars coming. And then you just turn.
That other piece.
But he didn't do that.
No.
He didn't wait for no cars. You have to do that part.
Right. And the car, as we saw in 2 pictures, literally monster trucked itself on top of 2 other cars.
Yeah. So it's funny. Well, I was thinking about this. When for a long time, like let's just say in the 50s, cars were just about the same size, about the same mass. And, when they started out, everyone just had a Model T, and then they had a Model A, and then I think they went back to the T again or something like that. But everything was all sort of fighters in the same division. Everyone was a middleweight.
Same weight class,
They were all in the same weight class. Now you got the big Denali, Yukon, whatever with you got trucks, you got the Raptors, you got the Dodge Raptor, you got the Ford Raptor and the Dodge T-Rex and stuff. I mean, these huge tires, huge... 8,000 pounds. And then you got smart cars and little stuff and all this. And there's going to be a little mismatch. And also, if you're going to have a bunch of stuff with 36-inch snow tires and, 2 feet off the ground, and you run into something where the front bumper's 12 inches off the ground, the wedge effect, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And the little cars are safe now because they have airbags and crumple zones, and they've engineered a lot of this stuff. but nothing's safe enough to be rolled over on. And so you have to kind of think about it with giant trucks rolling around everywhere. Do you want to be in the Miata?
Well, and that's the other thing. I mean, none of us regular folk even knew what a Humvee was until Arnold Schwarzenegger drove one.
Right.
So if you're driving in the same town as this guy, you might want to take that into consideration.
But why not give him a ticket?
Because he was the governor.
I guess they didn't witness it.
Yeah, who knows?
Tiger Woods didn't get a ticket for going.
No, yeah, my whole thing is if you, every ticket I've ever got that involved a moving violation was not for me hitting anyone or doing anything. It was the hypothetical.
Right.
You know how dangerous this you know how dangerous this could have been? There's a lot of that, but if nothing ever happened.
You only get it for the simulated accident.
But when the shit actually goes down, no ticket?
No. That was, remember a couple months ago, I showed that footage of this woman who was clearly high, smashing into that van in front of my house.
Right.
And she didn't get a ticket either. They just took her in an ambulance and got her checked out.
Well, we have this weird thing, which is like, well, of course, Tiger Woods was going 40 miles an hour faster than the posted speed limit, or he wouldn't have been able to get off that far off the road. But then we do a thing where they go, he suffered enough.
Victimless because he didn't hit anyone else.
Bill Cosby's son was executed.
No.
Do we go, well, don't indict him for rape. He suffered enough.
No.
Like, how's the law work? Either do it or you don't.
Yeah.
All
Doesn't
right.
work that way.
Sorry, I had to bring up Bill.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because
Really?
it sort of dovetails into this new finding that I'm sure we've heard in the last day or so. The FBI has announced that the boyfriend of Gabby Petito admitted killing her in a notebook that they discovered near his body in a Florida swamp. NPR News reports that it was the first time authorities squarely pinned the blame on Petito's death on Brian Laundrie. We've been speculating long enough, though he was the prime suspect all along, couldn't find him. So if you remember, Petito's body was found September 19th at a campground near Grand Teton. A coroner determined she had died 3 weeks earlier of blunt force and manual strangulation. Laundrie returned home to Florida, and there were texts coming from her phone that she couldn't have sent because she had been dead for that time. He went home to Florida in September when she went missing. October, his parents found an item belonging to him in a nature preserve, and after further searching that, they turned up Laundrie's remains, a revolver, a backpack, a notebook. Medical examiners determined he died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and they have this confession next to him.
Takes a lot of self-esteem to kill somebody. I think about all the time.
Yeah.
Do you know how long it actually takes to strangle somebody to death?
I'm glad I don't.
Like a good 3 minutes. Like that's a long time. You're holding them, crushing their airway and keeping the blood out of their brain while they're kicking.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
It's not
really,
a quick thing.
I know.
I mean, it gives me hope if I'm ever attacked, but still, I don't like it.
And hate on the back of your helmet.
That's right. Yeah.
That is, to me, that's not, an Alec Baldwin situation. The gun went off kind of thing. That is you doing it to this person.
With your bare hands.
For a while.
Yeah.
And that person has to be looking at you because they were former boyfriend, whatever, neighbor or something. The first look is like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I couldn't. You have to be a certain level of insane for that.
Yeah, I mean, what are the other choices besides a complete homicidal maniac and in self-defense? There's nothing in between.
Right.
You hate air.
Yeah.
But it's also it's so primitive. You know what I mean? Like to physically kill somebody that way. It's almost like you're prehistoric man.
Yeah.
Like even the people who just get into the street fights and like reach for the other person's neck. It's like, oh, that guy's kicking it old school in his brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not a spinning wheel kick. You know what I mean? It's not something you learn in a dojo. It is like literally.
Yeah.
Like, I think when you see like old people after they go crazy, like do that, they try to choke like the clerk behind the counter or something. It's a weird. It's not
caveman brain.
It's not that effective like at the supermarket and stuff, but it is caveman brain popping out, right? The choke is caveman brain.
That's why you're circling the parking lot, waiting for the strangulation to be over.
That's right. Killer.
Well, let's do a little more football talk. We know the big broad strokes and the winners and stuff, but a couple other stories. Tom Brady experienced a first over the weekend when he was called for an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, which was his first in 22 seasons. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Okay, so CBS Sports reports that Brady received the penalty due to arguing with the official after Von Miller just planted a hit that might have caused his lip to get a little bloody. The moneymaker. The hit caused Brady to scream at the referee. That was Sean Hochuli, I think, because...
Hockley.
Oh, thank you. Because there was no flag.
His dad was a famous ref.
I was going to say, how do you know who the ref is? There was no flag for roughing him. Hochuli wasn't buying what Brady was selling and gave the flag to Brady instead for getting mouthy. I'll just show you the full 20-second clip.
At the end of this play, and we even heard Tom Brady talking this week that he gets away with a little trash talking with opponents and the officials. Don't know what was said, but it was not to the liking of Hockley. Wow.
That's 3 15-yard penalties against Tampa Bay.
Look at my goddamn lip. He's
Yeah.
saying.
I've never seen him with an angry face.
Do you have
An indignant face.
Chris, find Jim Harbaugh when he played for the Bears.
They have it?
You can find a picture of him in his helmet. I think it's Jim. Jim, quarterback for the Bears.
I believe
right?
so.
Yeah.
Jim was the quarterback. I think he played for the Bears.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can find a picture of him. So I was studying this. I study everything. Von Miller kind of launched himself, but he got mostly shoulder pad, but he caught him on the chin. Yeah. And it stings because you didn't have any protection on his chin. And they made a protective chin strap years ago. They've had them. Walter Payton used to play with one. A lot of guys.
I picture them,
A lot of guys played with them.
It is shocking the more quarterbacks especially don't use that. Like Aaron Rodgers was just the piece of felt.
Why opt out of the
This
chin
is good.
strap?
It's not him at the Bear. I don't know. I just hope
the
you don't.
Michigan
I hope
Bears.
you don't think that's a Bear shot. Oh, Chris. Oh dear Lord.
Navy and orange. Like
I just have Jim Harbaugh helmet. I'll get. I have one on the Bears.
All right, but he
Looks like a
always
cup.
He always played with a kind of protective, hard thing because guys stuff gets under there and hits hard. Some guys never played with that, but it's been around. It's been around for a while. Yeah, Walter Payton I think played with it. Maybe it was a Bears thing.
Who'd opt out? What's the downside?
You have no idea. Nobody in the NFL plays with a cup, protective cup.
What?
Nobody. Doesn't exist.
Oh, wow. What are you talking about? Why?
I've interviewed these guys. First off, look at them. By the way, you can see there. You can see a cup. There is no cup.
Just hog.
It's all hog.
They could break their penis.
Yeah.
Obvious, they can. You got to picture these guys. There is no cup. They don't play with the cup.
But why? What is their reasoning?
It's like
slows them down.
Uncomfortable, slows them down. They don't like it. That's how they roll. Like they just go, I don't like it. You know, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Why don't you wear a Dale Earnhardt?
Right.
Why don't you wear a full face helmet in your race cars? I don't like it.
Okay, you're rolling the dice.
I could chew gum when I drive.
The plot thickens. Chris is looking for a picture, but I found a few. Brady in Michigan wore the padded chin strap.
He wore the
padded chin strap in Michigan.
There he is.
There he is.
So it's just a macho thing. Nobody's doing it, so I don't want to do it.
There's different kinds of helmets. One is called a bike, and it has like the weird cross thing, and it's leather, and you can literally see your skin.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can watch Brady from yesterday. You can see him you see his skin coming through. And if Von Miller gets a head of steam and he comes around the corner, he's going to catch you. Mm. And I've always thought about this. I obsess over this stuff.
You do?
I do.
Oh.
That's what I think about.
Well, I have one more football.
So they're both right. Von speared him a little bit, but it wasn't really on Von.
Right.
You get smacked hard in the face that way, and you know, so everyone's right.
You can do things.
He didn't like it. And
Right.
he got his first penalty on that. And let's do one more football story. I don't know if you guys saw this during the game. It certainly was Facebooked and tweeted heavily in my circle. A Chiefs fan who stormed the field during Sunday night's playoff game at Arrowhead was taken down by Bills stars Stephon Diggs and then immediately arrested. And I'll show you in a second. TMZ reports that the 20-year-old Jacob Ross sprinted onto the turf in the fourth quarter of the Buffalo KC game when suddenly Diggs went after him.
Fucking Chiefs fans.
In video shot by a fan. You can see Diggs smashing into the guy. The fan eventually gets up, but was immediately taken down by security.
He barely missed killing that guy.
But
he glanced him, but he could have murdered him.
This guy has to be so drunk and probably went so limp because he gets up and he's kind of, into it and thinks he's badass. He's, pumping his fist. Look at this guy.
Well, Dick Butkus is the all-timer, right? That is Dick Butkus.
Was that Butkus? I think
no, it's
just
Mike.
did 2 kicks in the air, 3 kicks in the air.
Yes. No, it's Ditka.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Mike Ditka's
that one was
he's
awesome.
the best. He's the best. I think we're living in a world where you run on the field drunk and a player on the other team clotheslines you and you get to sue that guy. We're there. I mean, you could because you go, look, I was drunk. I was on the field, but it's not his job. He's not the police of the field. There's security for this. And they are trained in non-lethal ways to get me off this field.
Technically, you're
the
right.
Flying, the flying shiver forearm is not. No, but let's just say he broke his jaw.
Yeah.
He would definitely sue. Was it Stefan Diggs?
Yeah. Do we have time for one more?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wendy, I would love to get your opinion on this, and something tells me you may have talked about it just because it's so odd. So we know now that Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox are getting together, and they're affianced, and that's great. But Machine Gun Kelly designed an engagement ring for Megan Fox that will physically hurt if she tries to take it off. So they got engaged. It played a big part in the process. He played a big part in the process of this ring, and we're looking at it now. It's huge. It's both of their birthstones. It's gorgeous. It's giant. And there are these separate bonds that snap together. That's very nice. Here's the catch. In an interview with Vogue, he added that the bands have thorns all inside of them. So if she tries to take it off, it's going to hurt very badly. Do you think this sounds like a healthy relationship?
No, but that's severe mate guarding right there, right?
Mate guarding.
Part of
Megan Fox.
Yeah, so part of human mating strategy, of course, is you have to compete against same-sex mates to get someone. You have to attract someone, and then you have to retain them. And part of retaining a mate involves mate guarding. So this was clearly an extreme form of mate guarding. But in today's times where women have so much power, this whole put a ring on her and keep her tied up seems very anti-feminist, right?
Yeah.
And also, does this ring, is it going to injure her just doing the dishes when it slides around?
I'm sure she has someone for that.
Yeah, right.
I always, there's a novel aspect that some couples get into where, Billy Bob Thornton, I have a vial of blood. It feels weird that I know about it.
I don't mind I would call an extreme anxious attachment.
Oh, wow.
It is. If I didn't know about it, I'd actually be fine with it.
That's your thing.
Also, I didn't mention, there's no proof of it, but Megan Fox said in the Instagram post about the engagement, like, we did this, he engaged, he proposed, it was great, and then we drank each other's blood. So this is a thing.
Yeah, they're fused. Okay, so there's also, when those two anxious people find each other, remember the categories, the anxious, the avoidant, the secure, the disorganized. When two anxious people find each other, they become so enmeshed that emotionally they can't remember whose problem is whose. And while you would think it's nice to present a united front to the world, it's nice to be a couple, you can be too close. A healthy relationship are two circular Venn diagrams, right? Where you have two autonomous individual people and there's some great overlap where you enhance each other's lives. That's healthy, right? But
not when they're just sitting right on top of each other.
Not drinking each other's blood, not wearing bear trap rings.
Well, the good part is they have the messiest breakups.
Oh, yes.
Those are fun.
Yeah.
So you're going to hear
the Johnny Depp breakup.
Yeah, they're as passionate about breaking up as they are getting together.
The Tiger Woods Golf Club breakup.
Right.
All those,
Yeah. So
they're good.
As a society who has to hear the story about the vials of the blood and the drinking of the blood and the ring that's like the spike strip that the highway patrol throws out for the guys who's on the prison break, and it's obnoxious. We get it back in spades later on when they break up.
It's an investment.
The feud breaks out, the tabloids, and we get our life back.
That's right.
That's how I get my life back. My precious moments, I get back.
That's right.
All right. we're bringing it home.
We'll do it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. I can't believe you got famous. You have no charisma, no charm.
Eat a.
Oh, Brian.
Gina.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Clean that up, Kelsey.
Dr. Wendy Walsh. You can find her radio show 4 to 6 out here, KFI 640. The podcast, Mating Matters. And then, of course, you can find her on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and her YouTube page. Dr. Wendy Walsh is where you go. Well, this is delightful, Doctor.
Nice to see you. You know, I owe you a big thank you. Many, many years ago, maybe 6, 7, I held a cocktail party for the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and you sent over a few cases of margaritas for us. Thank you.
Oh, I did?
Yes, you did.
Well, you're quite welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
It was a write-off. So you can go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Coming up in Brea, February 6th, Bill Shatner's going to be on stage with me. Also, Dennis Quaid as well. Just go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live shows. Until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Dr. Wendy Walsh, Gina Grad, and Paul Bryan saying mahala. And then the cat gets up.
No. Oh, my.
Now, as the cats tangle,
the
crow is dancing in delight.
He gets his front row seat to the fight.
And he goes down. I think
now he's down watching.
Continues.
Now they're down on the ground level and they're fighting. If that crow lit a cigar and made a bet, I would not be surprised.